All right, attention, all you card collectors out there. We have the people that can tell you exactly how much your card collection is worth with us here today. Brian Ludden and Heather Denniston, who are co-founders of the website Ludex.com. And again, it's an app, and you guys describe it. It's better than coming from you guys.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, there was during the pandemic, obviously we were all at home with a lot of time on our hands, and my son and I got out my collection from my childhood, and we were enjoying ourselves. So we went and bought a pack of cards from eBay of the new generation of cards. And I could not tell you, Andy, I couldn't tell you what the cards were. I couldn't tell you what they were worth. There's like 8 variations of every card. And so our fun factor was like crashing and the frustration was going through the roof. So it was kind of like an invention by necessity. I wanted to really share this hobby with my son, but I didn't have the knowledge. And so I went and created an AI company that would identify cards, tell you what card you have, tell you all the data you need with that card, and also tell you what it's worth. So what I try to do is lower the bar for people to get in and use Ludex to as the tool and the caveat to continue collecting cards in today's era.
Yeah, you touched on something too that kind of hits me too, because I remember collecting cards when I was a kid. I have no idea what happened to any of those cards. I'm not sure where they went. They disappeared. I'm sure like everybody tells you the same thing, and then you start to collect again. And I did that during the pandemic. As a matter of fact, I want to show you guys my collection so far during the pandemic.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's for those that are just listening. It is basically 2 shelves of a closet filled with boxes of baseball cards. And I told my fiance, who after she's like, oh, come on, what are you doing? You buying more baseball cards? I said, I could be into a lot worse things. So just be thankful that I'm only into baseball cards, right?
So true.
So she kind of acquiesced to that. But, if you can see in that collection, I do have some new stuff, but I went back to the old stuff because to me, the new stuff, like you said, it's so segmented and there's so many refractors and high numbers and blah, blah, blah. And just so many of these cards that are coming out, there's almost too many of them.
Yeah, like anything today, right? It's like too TMI, like just too much information, and then I feel like for me, the more if I don't have knowledge and information, I kind of tend to like just drift away and do something else. So, yeah, you're exactly right, Andy. It's tough out there.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, exactly. And Heather, I mean, speak to the fact too that people can come to your site, people can download your app, and then they're going to get a really good idea of what their collection is actually worth. A lot of people don't want to sell them, but it's nice to know what they are.
Yeah, to track, watch it grow, just like any commodity you want to see grow over time. And whether it's a stock that you're watching in your portfolio or Brian always likes to use the analogy of digitizing the collection is similar to using kind of like how the CDs were to the iPod. When we moved our collections from record players and CDs into our phones, that's really what we're doing with cards, all different types of cards. So it's sports cards, trading cards, gaming cards. So Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, we're currently hosting as well and identifying. And it's really being able to have that collection with you and watch it grow over time. And then also engage with other collectors, people who love and have a passion for these cards, love talking about it. So creating a space that's safe, where there's some accountability for how they trade. And that's really what we're doing. It's really meeting the community of collectors right where they are and creating a new platform for them to love their hobby.
The reason I found you guys at first is because during the pandemic and during all this stuff, when I figured out I had that crazy collection that I showed you, I Googled organize my card collection. And you guys were one of the first ones that came up, and I hit it and I'm like, wait a minute, this is pretty cool. I mean, because, I'd love to know the value, but I'd also love to know which cards I have without having to go through every single one of them.
Yeah, I mean the value's fun. I mean it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if it's going up a nickel every card or 10 cents or 20 cents, but it is cool when people do flip that card and it's worth $30 or $40. You're like, whoa, this is cool. I'm going to take care of this. So it's like a treasure hunt a little bit, and we're kind of like the metal detector. But everyone collects differently. Andy, like you started collecting, you like what was nostalgic to you, and it has value to you. There's extrinsic value and intrinsic value on everything. And I'm kind of with you. I like to go to the vintage. Those guys can't get hurt. They can't get arrested. They're
Exactly.
not going to go in a slump, so yeah.
Yeah, it's funny too because I went way back now. Ron Santo and I had a relationship from our broadcast with the Cubs, and I also had a relationship with Ed Farmer and with Darren Jackson of the White Sox. So I went on eBay and I'm collecting all of their cards. I have every single Darren Jackson card, every single Ed Farmer card, and now every single Ron Santo card. And I just look at them and I'm like, this is awesome. I mean, I've got a slice of people that I actually know and have worked with to sit in my collection. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's not just the most valuable cards. Like a lot of people in the hobby talk about, oh, this card's worth $1,500, or I just traded it and made 100% on its value. But it is that kind of what matters to you, those personal connections, whether it's a memory of watching a certain game or being at a certain game or knowing somebody personally. Like some of my cards mean nothing to a lot of people. Like I have this Game of Thrones card that was signed by Sansa Stark. So its value is really more personal than anything. But it's fun being able to have that in your collection. If you can imagine those cards, your Ron Santo deck, having that in a deck on your phone and be able to slide through and see all of them in one place.
Yeah, and not to name drop here, but I got to work with Tony Gwynn when I was in San Diego as well, and I started collecting all of his cards. And he has a card that he signed for me. It's of him fishing. It's an upper deck card, and it's of him fishing. And I've never been able to get a value on it. I would never part with it because Tony was a good friend, and I miss him dearly. And he, I watched him sign it with a pen right in front of me. And there's so many unique cards, and I'm curious too about your technology, because a lot of collectors are into the fact that there's a mistake on the card. There's it's cut a different way than other cards. Are you able to decipher that with your app?
Well, not necessarily all the. There's a lot of fraudulent cards out there. People,
I agree.
The Michael Jordan card is like they'll print their own card, and so there's a lot of stuff out there that's just like buyer beware. It's hard to really catch them all. I think we got like 17 million different cards in our database. So we're a membership model, and I think one of the advantages of a membership model is keeping a lot of the people who want to rip other people out of it.
Yeah,
the bad actors tend to not want to pay the membership model to rip people off. So hopefully we're able to do that. But there are some cards there's a Billy Ripken card, a pretty famous Billy Ripken card that has a little message on the bat knob that it's not for this podcast, but there's some of those cards that got through. So we could actually put that card in our tech and have it as that kind of card. So we can hard code some of those error cards.
And you were mentioning like condition too, like whether it's centering or other factors that add value to the overall price of a card, right? So initially when we started Ludex, it was something that it was a challenge that we were really excited about seeing if we could tackle. And ultimately we decided that the most important problem that we needed to solve for the hobby at first was the identification component. So we have spent millions of dollars and millions of hours into creating our AI that correctly identifies card types. So that's the biggest problem for raw cards in the hobby. So we solved that problem. The next problem that we are looking at solving is how can we add value to helping people understand those kind of like errors or quality variances in their cards, whether it's kind of centering or an edge. So we believe that our AI will be able to capture some of that, but ultimately our grading companies are out there doing a really, really good job of that. And we hope to really partner with some of them and be able to provide a one-click button to getting your card graded to simplify the process.
Andy, do you have any of those error cards?
I do, actually. I have, it's funny. I got a Carmen Fan Zone. You remember him from the Cubs?
Yeah.
He played the trumpet too. So, I mean, this one here is cut off of the top. I'm showing these guys the card at the top. So, I mean,
that's a really good.
Yeah. So, I mean, I continue to read up on these things, and I'm familiar with the Billy Ripken card that you talked about, but the one that's out there that has me befuddled because I actually have it, and I don't know if it's real or not, is the Frank Thomas Auburn jersey with no name on the card at all. I've been told by people that I know It's what?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I was saying, I mean, I've been told by thousands of people, different things, 1,000 different things. One says, "Oh, that's worth 15 grand. Oh, that's not worth anything. Oh, that's worth 12 grand." I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, that card, the miscuts. If you think about quality control back in like the 80s and 90s, they didn't care. They just cut the sheets, and like those aren't necessarily very valuable. It's the print ones. It's that Thomas card is definitely a valuable one. It's one of the highest valuable mistake cards because it really was a print mistake by the company, and people like to collect those. So that card is worth more than his card that's actually has everything on there. My guys know there. I got like 5 guys back here that I could yell out the door and they would tell me what it's worth. But it's worth it. That's a good one. That one, and Griffey has one where he had a big scar on his elbow that they like whited out. So there's a handful of them that are worth a lot, and then there's a lot of them are just fun to have because they're so bad.
Yeah. I mean, there's one I remember. I think it was a Jerry Morales card from way back in the day. He was listed as on the Cubs, but it was a San Diego Padres jersey.
Yeah, I mean, they quality control. They
Yeah.
not care.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think that, if there was a silver lining to the pandemic, it was the fact that people got back into this, because I think people were losing interest because, these guys were making so much money, first of all, and there's not a lot of guys that want to sign the cards anymore. And from your perspective too, I mean, have you noticed an uptick now of people that are subscribing because, there are people like me that have just recently gotten back into it?
Yeah, for sure. We just got back from the National Card Shows in Atlantic City. And it's amazing how many people are in it. And, but everyone's in it for a different reason. Like, you're one of probably 8 different kind of people that would sign up for Ludex and find different value in Ludex. But yeah, I didn't know that much about the current hobby, but as I've integrated more and more in the last year and a half or so, 2 years, it's fun, man. And next year, well, we're having a show in end of August. We're having a Ludex card show in Rosemont at the Skyline Arena, August 27th. And so starting our own card shows in Chicago just to get our name out there. But I mean, it's amazing. Even that show, there's a waiting list for tables for vendors, and it's great. It's all free. It's covered by Ludex, but the National will be in Chicago next year, and that will be fun. It's a home game. So we're looking forward to that.
You gotta love home games, definitely. What's been the reaction you've gotten? I don't know if you get comments or you get emails from collectors, and either saying, "Okay, well, we need this," or "Hey, I don't think we need that," or "I'd like to be able to talk to so and so because he has a card that I might be interested in buying." Are you getting a lot of that?
Yeah, I think early on, we definitely did surveys to determine at shows what people needed and what their kind of the pain points were. So quickly understanding how helping to organize a collection, whether it be by player or by sport or by card category, that was a value. Again, beyond knowing actually what the card variation was to begin with, or the parallel to begin with, that was a problem that was early on identified. But the organization is definitely a piece, and then being able to track its value and know as your card changes in price was a huge value add as well.
And at the shows, it's interesting when people come up to the booth. One guy's like, I moved 3 times and I brought these cards with me all 3 times. And my wife was like, "You can't keep bringing these." But then he used Ludex and it turned into, he's like, then I went on a vacation with him. And it was like, I got the last laugh. We paid for a vacation. And he goes, "I knew I brought these cards around for a reason." And a lot of stuff like a lot of, father, son, a lot of older gentlemen who want to monetize their collection because they're like, I'm afraid if something happens, my family won't know what to do with it. But now it's on Ludex, and I have it in my collection. There's stories all over, but mostly the funny thing is we have been adding sports, based on popularity or whatnot. But it's when baseball's out there, they want football. When football's out there, they want basketball. When basketball's out there, they want garbage pail kids. It's like they want everything. So by the end of September, we'll have every single card that's ever been printed, from Garbage Pail Kids, Star Wars to Marvel, everything by the end of September.
It's amazing. And it's amazing to me to think about how technology has come as far as it has, because I remember sitting on my front steps with my buddies trading our cards, just going, hey, I'll take this for that. I'll take this for that. And then it evolves, into going online to do it. And now it's evolving into just picking up your phone and being able to do it. I'm just curious, I know there's a lot of stuff that I'm not going to understand about how this works, but I mean, there's a big undertaking here, isn't there?
Yes, it's taken us the lion's share of the last year, really just almost a year and a half worth of work to solve the problem. The AI, machine learning, deep learning models that we've created that are proprietary to Ludex are very layered and complicated. From using image similarities to parts of OCR to facial recognition, different components all layered together that really ended up being the trick, the secret sauce, if you will, that solved the problem of identification. So yes, it's definitely complicated and layered, and it's beyond even our capacity to. I'm glad we have people that work with us that are experts in what they do. And we're really lucky to have built a really talented, smart team.
And I'm sure this is kind of an attractive thing if you go around and say, hey, let's invest in this, because so many people are into this, first of all. And I was reading, of course, that you got Brian Urlacher to come on board. And that's a huge get, not just because, he played in the NFL and he's so recognizable here in Chicago, but also he's got plenty of cards that might be worth something too.
Yeah, he's been a friend of mine for a while, and I knew this was going to be up his alley, but he's been a great partner. He's a good friend, and he's excited to get onto the Ludex platform. He's not a huge card collector, but he's learning more and more. But he did bring in a box of his rookie cards, and he's like, man, I got this many cards at home. And he brought him into the office, and the guys looked at it and priced them out for him. And yeah, it's easy to get back in because he collected cowboy cards when he was growing up. So it's all nostalgia for guys, to look back at, and it tells a story and brings you back to a time. Like you said, you're sitting on your steps trading with your buddies. That's a visceral feeling today that you have that's never going to leave you. And if you could put those 3 guys or 4 guys on that step again at this age, you do the same thing. And that's why it's such a cool hobby, and people do love it. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's funny. I'm showing folks at home here the cardboard conversations. That's what it's called.
Yes.
Yeah. I was watching this thing for a little bit here, and Urlacher was hilarious. And now I covered Urlacher when he was a rookie and through the Bears, pretty much through his career. And I'm watching this guy all of a sudden be this jokester, and we couldn't get him to say 3 words in his rookie year.
He's hilarious, and his personality is so different. It was yes sir, no sir, head down, boom, out. But yeah, we have a fun time together. It's fun.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. I mean, are there any other big names that got on board here?
Yeah, we also are working with Cassius Marsh, who also played for the Bears and is very, very well known in the Magic the Gathering card community. And he has hundreds of thousands of followers and hosts a Friday night trading night, Magic gaming night on Friday nights. And so he's actually come aboard to help as not just as an ambassador of the brand, but also as a consultant and how we can best craft our platform to serve the needs of the Magic the Gathering community. So Cassius has been a huge asset in informing kind of how we're building out the platform, where Urlacher is serving more as that brand ambassador as well as an investor. Cassius has been kind of a really invaluable partner, and because Brian and I weren't very familiar with Magic the Gathering when we started doing this, so it was really great to work with somebody who's an expert in the space.
Believe it or not, early in my life, actually in the mid 90s, I actually sold cards to stores. I was working for a company that actually did that. And I remember picking up the phone back in those days. It wasn't really computerized. It was, basically picking up the phone and calling the manager of a Walgreens or the manager of a Safeway or whatever it was at that point. And you're trying to tell them all the new cards that you had in stock. And I think Magic the Gathering was starting to come out at that point, and it was just one of those things that I never got into, but boy, oh boy, was it popular back then.
Yeah, Magic's a funny crew. They're very protective, but 30 million people play it worldwide. And Cassius, do you remember with Cassius Marsh, like it was a Bears game, Monday night game against the Steelers last year, and he got a sack in the fourth quarter, and the referee kind of put his ass into him or what?
Yeah,
whatever.
Tony Correnti.
Yeah, Correnti. Well, that's how we got in touch with him, because the guys came to work. We're all like, that was crazy. Like, I can't believe we lost the game because of that. And then the guys are like, hey, he loves to collect cards. So I cold called him like 5 days in a row, his card shop in LA. And they finally got me in touch with him, and he invested, and now he's doing it with Ludex. So it was because of Correnti knocking back into him that Cassius is a part of Ludex.
Don't get me started on officiating in the NFL, please.
Oh, yeah.
We can go on a tangent. We can go on a tangent. We'll be here for hours because of you talk about not having a feel for a game. When the guy used to play for the Steelers and he's just talking. That's all he was doing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Maybe I'll start some AI for referee grading, grade out their performance.
So I know it's not just the two of you there. You've got the guys I saw on the cardboard collections as well, and I'm sure you have a lot of technical guys that are coding things and all that. How big a company are you guys right now?
We're approaching 30 employees, full-time employees, and between marketing and member experience, one thing that we really invested in is making sure we had a team of to support our members as they join the platform. So we have a member experience team, a marketing team, and obviously our IT, AI, and technical development team as well.
Yeah, those are the guys that are behind the scenes and really making this thing go and making it work. I mean, it's amazing to me how these guys know and how this technology just absolutely it works. I mean, that's the thing that it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. So one of the things that was important to us early on, and that's why we're so excited to be talking to you, Andy, is that Brian and I are both from Chicago, went to school in Chicago. Urlacher is a Chicago athlete. We really wanted to build something in this town that we love and are so committed to. And so we're proud to have opened an office in River North and have people coming back to work. And we built out a really cool, fun space for people that want to, after being, through the pandemic, nobody wanted to go back to work. So creating a space that people wanted to come back to work and bring business back into the city of Chicago and be proud of what we've built. Tech is really, obviously it's very heavy in Silicon Valley and even in New York, but Chicago, we have a real tech community here, and we're really proud to be a part of it and to be kind of and proud of the team that we've built that are also kind of born and bred here in Chicago.
And I'm sure your staff ranges in age. There's a huge difference in age range. I'm sure that spans the gamut, right?
Yeah, I'm towards the high end. I might be one bookend.
I didn't want to go there, but if you want to go there yourself, that's fine. I'm sure I got you by a couple of years as well.
I'm a veteran. Let's just call it that way.
Yeah. Talk to me about the pricing and some of the things that people can expect when they go to ludex.com and click on everything and go surfing for the first time on your website.
So one of the things that was really important to us is to lower the barrier to entry. So we want people to be able to try out a Ludex very easily. So you have a free trial straight away. And then our membership model is really it then opens up all the features and functionality of the platform. So you can start for a couple of weeks, and then you have the price is $19.99, but right now we're actually cutting that in half. So we have a limited trial. It's $9.99 a month, or is it $89 a year? It's limited pricing, so it's half off right now until we get all the card types in there. We thought it was best that we just kind of lower that barrier. So that's all they have to do. We have it through both the Apple App Store as well as Google Play Store. So both Samsung users, Apple users, all have the opportunity to download Ludex on their phone.
I know there was a big rollout too, because when I Googled it, and I told you that I was Googling organize your card collection, and you guys came up there, and you weren't ready yet, and you were taking emails, and I got I put my email address in there, and I got it, and I was like, wait a minute, is this okay? Yeah, this is what I was waiting for, right? So I've checked it out. It looks really impressive. I mean, the whole thing just kind of it kind of speaks to me, obviously, as a card geek, and I'm sure it speaks to a lot of people as well. But it's well presented. In my opinion, it's very well presented.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And it was, AI is tough. It's stubborn. Tech's stubborn. So we did get caught a little bit, behind the eight ball with some COVID stuff and some coding technology stuff we ran into. So it gets better and better every day. And like I said, we're getting above. We're going to have all cards at the end of September, and the identification is going to be over 90% of every card. So it's going to take time, but it gets better every day.
And Heather, that's got to be the exciting part. Sorry to cut you off there. It's got to be the exciting part because it's always evolving. Because where you are today is not where you're going to be next week.
True that. And then we're also adding more and more. So we're excited to add a trading platform. So kind of going back to you on your front step, trading with your buddies. We're going to have that in a protected platform for people to trade. Also, right now we're going to offer a click to eBay. So it's just a one quick connection point to eBay where they can populate their cards. It happens automatically, and they're easily able to sell on the eBay marketplace. We also have big ideas about creating a metaverse kind of virtual card show, working with Roblox. And so we have lots of ideas and lots of fun features and functionality coming down the roadmap.
I asked you about the age range of your staff. What have you noticed the age range of people that are checking you out and subscribing?
It's I always say it's 8 to 80 and all, even other sides of that. But there's definitely probably the most excited, and they're on tech. They're already used to tech, so they're on social media seeing our ads. But it's that kind of the Robin Hood generation who use lifestyle cards, shoes as alternative investments. Mm-hmm. So probably the ages of 25 to 35 are really active because they would rather have their favorite player's rookie card than a stock certificate. And I didn't believe it, but it's true. Yeah, so they're all over.
Yeah, I believe it. And if you can't give away trade secrets, feel free to tell me to mind my own business. But you guys have your own separate people that are grading cards and pricing them, or are you using one of the well-known brands out there?
So grading, we're not doing any of the grading,
okay.
But we did. I was a finance guy. I traded. I had a company on the CBOE and the Merck and the Board of Trade for 25 years. That was my first and only career after college. And so we did write some pricing algorithms that we put together, and we're grabbing it from 4 or 5 different marketplaces, and we're aggregating it, and then we're cleaning it and running it again, because there's a lot of people that are trying to put cards on there for bad prices. And then we just kind of bring it in-house, and we just give it a range. So let's say a card, we go out there and we clean the data, and it's a $15. This is like Ryan Sandberg card. You can see right there.
Rookie auto.
That card, we might end up with an algorithm it's a $100 card. So we'll just say it's worth between 50 and 150, and we'll mark it at 100.
Yeah, it makes sense because it's hard to make sense out of, if you go to Beckett or you go to PSA and you go on their websites or you go to their books and there's such a difference, and you wonder, okay, what's the criteria that one company is using that the other company isn't, or vice versa?
There is none.
That's what I mean. It just doesn't make any sense.
And eBay really controls the market. They probably do the most. But eBay, you can put whatever you want in there. I could have a card worth $100 and put it for $1,000, and then it kind of ruins kind of the people's perspective of really what the card's worth. A confused marketplace, that's really what eBay tries to do. And we're just trying to clean it up and make it as good as we possibly can. But that was a tough problem also to solve too. So we solved what do I have and what is it worth? Those are the 2 questions, and they were both equally difficult.
Yeah, eBay certainly has come around and caused some issues. I mean, I've gotten a few of these cards. I will admit that I've got a few of them off of eBay, but I've gone to companies that I've worked with before and I've trusted that are actually sports card companies that are ones that have their own brick and mortar stores, and I try to avoid the mom and pop kind of folks because you don't know. I mean, you just don't have any idea, and it's dicey sometimes. I mean, it really is when you think you have a card that's worth X and it's worth half of that, if not, if even that.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like, it's difficult when you go on eBay, and they control most of the market. They really do. But with Ludex, hopefully it gives you more confidence, right? So if you scan a card on Ludex, or if you put a card in because you want to buy it on Ludex, you're going to have a good bumper of like what it should be worth, and like we're not authentic graders or authenticators, or we're just giving the collector more information than they've ever had at their fingertips. That's it. We're just there to provide information, and we've spent a lot of money and a lot of time doing it. And I think the hobby has wanted this for a long time, and hopefully it shows that people sign up for Ludex.
I want to get into your guys' background too here real quick. Brian, you mentioned that you had a company on the CBOE. I know you were a college athlete as well. And, first of all, how good were you at Northern Illinois, right?
I was, yeah.
I actually have his card back here somewhere.
I saw it on the website. Yeah, I saw it. I think as I was looking at you guys, I think I may have seen you on LinkedIn. I think that card might be there.
Yeah. So no, I played baseball at Andrew High School in Tinley Park, and then I went to Moraine Valley, which is a junior college out by where I grew up, and I played basketball and baseball there. And then I was lucky enough to get a scholarship to go to Northern. And then after my senior year, I got a bus ticket with the Phillies to go to Wilkes-Barre, and that's pretty much what it was. Because at senior year, you have no leverage at all. My dad called me and goes, are you really going to do this? Do you really have the fire? And I'm like, no, I don't. Because I saw guys that were 5 times better than me sitting in 28 years old in AA. And I'm like, I just saw the writing on the wall and said, I want to go get my finance degree started. And I was blessed down there to learn what I learned and create the company I created and work with the guys that I was able to work with down there. It was a wonderful career, and it propelled me to where I'm at today.
Heather, what's your background?
So my background is more HR operations and strategy. I spent about 15 years in HR, different levels of roles, finishing with talent acquisition. And I had my own search firm and boutique consulting company, Grayson and Graham. And then I went back to school to pursue kind of my dream of getting my PhD. So the last handful of years, that's what I was focused on. And when Brian had this idea to start this company, I thought it was a great opportunity for me to come in and kind of leverage my background in operations and HR and help him kind of operationalize the vision and make his dream a company. And so that's really what my role has been, is building out the teams and helping to really just operationalize the vision.
So what's it like working together? I know that you guys are more than just business partners.
So true. Yes. You know what? I will say, like, some people ask me, what's been your the biggest surprise or the best part of starting Ludex? And one of my answers is always about like how fun it is to work with Brian. I really just have enjoyed building this with him. When we were dating, we talked about starting a company together, and it's something that we're both entrepreneurs at heart, and it just was just a really natural fit. The timing was right. The product was right. Our backgrounds are very complementary in terms of what his strengths are versus mine. So for me, it's been a blast. I'm really living the dream.
And Brian?
And for me, it's I tend to be a macro guy, idea guy. My brain moves, and I miss a lot of details. And when I was starting this company, Heather's like, I'm like, she's exactly what I'm looking to hire. And, I know that if you can align us together, it's helped a lot, because she understands the work we're putting in. She understands, she cares about the business. She knows exactly what my strengths are and weaknesses are. And it's been, so you just trust, when you can trust your first partner and your founder, it helps a lot. Just concentrate on building the brand and building the company.
I know this is kind of you're still feeling your way through, trying to get subscribers and things of that nature with the cards. Have you thought long term about all the different memorabilia that's out there, and signed baseballs or whatever? I mean, I know that gets a little more difficult because of authentication and everything, but have you thought along those lines?
Absolutely. We're talking about how the different use cases we can use our AI to identify in terms of the collectibles, kind of the easy, like low hanging fruit would be coins and stamps and anything that we can scan, watches. But in terms of authentication, that's really going to be further out there. It's more about what can we scan and identify and gather pricing on, and that people can store their collections digitally. We're talking about handbags. That's a huge market. Secondary luxury handbags. That's definitely something. Shoes. Shoes are a huge collector's item right now. People just are just having them in their boxes on the shelves, never walking in them. So sneakers is a big market. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to build different verticals as we grow.
That's one of them that I couldn't understand, the sneakers, because if I got a pair of Jordans, I'd be wearing them I'd be showing them. I don't want to show them off. I could not put them on my feet.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Those are crazy. People will get like in line to get the first release and they're $200 and they'll resell them for $900 that day. I mean, and that's that Robinhood, generation, and adds a lot of excitement to a lot of things. But like Heather said, our tech doesn't care if it's a watch or a card. But the autographs is super interesting because we just got back from Cooperstown. They invited us to go out and set up there during the weekend with David Ortiz. But everyone kept saying, hey, what about the autographs? What about the autographs? We do have some technology that's pretty cool to determine like the authenticity of an autograph. But anytime I'm trying to stay away from being the authority. And if we do it, it's going to be like, hey, in our best opinion, using our proprietary software, we believe this is an accurate signature. And that's how I think it'll end up being, instead of just like
a stamp of like yes or no, this is real or not. It's again going back to what Brian said about giving our members more information than they've ever had before. So we are able to maybe check because our AI will pick up whether or not it's authentic, matching an authentic signature. We can do that, but we don't want to be the ones that are saying definitively without bringing it in house, and that's a whole different company when you start bringing things in house.
So as a young company, how are you getting the word out? I mean, I know that I've seen a couple of very nice articles written about you guys, and I know you have a Facebook page. How else are you trying to get the word out?
Well, we're on all the usual places: TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. So we're hitting the users where they are right now, the hobbyists, where they are engaging about their cards. We're engaging with them there as well. We're creating content, organic content, talking about cards. We have a content team, as you saw, that Brock and Evan, who interviewed Brian Urlacher. They have several different ways to add value back to the community by doing hobby 101s and education and putting out video content and blogs about the hobby, best ways to ship your card, etiquette at a card show, things like that, where we're engaging the hobbyists right where they are. So, and we have traditional ads and all the things, but that's really how we're getting the word out right now. And also we're going to shows. We're creating a show. We're going to shows. We're talking to folks. We're also going to hobby shops themselves and building relationships with card shop owners. And so it's kind of traditional boots on the ground and then digital marketing strategies as well.
But it's hard. It's hard to get people's eyes on it. I always think more macro. And I said, how many commercials have you seen for cards in your life? I've never seen a card.
I don't think I have either.
So I'm going to the Field of Dreams game next week, and we're meeting with the president of Topps. And I'm going to pitch him the fact that if we can partner with Topps and hand out cards at like Sox Park, right, and give it to them and put our QR code there or on the wall, and grow the hobby and get people out there and back into it. Because everyone loves collecting cards. I guarantee if they're at a baseball game, 90% of those people have collected cards. So I want to try to open it up that way. Go to the fans, go right where they're at, and partner with these big companies and help us get out there.
You hit on something I want to ask you about again, because with the content crew and how undervalued I think that is, that you can teach people what to look for, how to go about this. I never even thought about etiquette at a card show. I'm sure that the folks that are behind those tables are like, okay, you're annoying, get away from me, or please do it the right way. I mean, it's like anything. I mean, like you got to learn etiquette on a golf course. You got to learn etiquette wherever you go. That to me right there is amazing. I think that's something I think a lot of people could probably get on board with.
Yeah, and we one of our taglines is that we're for the hobby by the hobby, and we really are. Most of the team here are deep hobbyists. They are collectors, and they understand kind of the vernacular of the hobby, and they go to these shows. This is their life. They breathe these cards. They love it, and so it creates an authentic brand, really, in that we're again meeting the hobby right where they are, loving the cards, talking about the athletes, talking about their value. Yeah.
I think it's amazing. And I think that, you're filling a need that I don't think a lot of people realize they needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You don't realize you need it until you see it. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's the truth. I mean, that's kind of how, like I said, that's kind of how I found you guys, because I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to have to go buy all these things to stack my cards and put them put them there. And I'm still not going to, if someone's going to say, okay, where's your 1989 Darren Jackson card? I'm like, I have no idea. It's in one of these boxes. I can't find it.
Yeah, it is nice to digital. You'll be able to sort your whole collection just by a search word. So I'm a Sox fan, so I want to collect Tim Anderson, and so I'll have a T8 collection, and we have the ability to put it into like your own little folder. So you could have your Darren Jackson folder, your Tony Gwynn, your Santo, and it's like those little binders, and you can go through them, and it's fun. It brings it, just like I said, it brings people back to a time of yesteryears.
It's funny. You said you were trading, and I have no idea what any of that's worth or how to do any of that stuff. But I'm thinking to myself now, as I've decided to start buying some of the 2022 Series 1, Heritage Collection cards from Topps, and I'm kind of futures trading right now because I'm trying to think to myself, okay, which of these guys is going to be the one that this card's going to be worth something? And it's amazing to me because, I can go back and I know which guys are valuable in the past. The 2019 cards are over the top expensive because of guys like Fernando Tatis Jr. and because of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And, now it's like, okay, well, who's the next big thing? I mean, and it's fun to kind of do that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is fun and there's a lot of people that just kind of go big on one person. And they're like, Bo Bichette. I'm just going big on Bo Bichette. I'm going to get as many cards as I can. And if Bo Bichette becomes, the next, whoever, name the player, then, your collection is huge. Quarterbacks in the NFL are the ones that's the one where you can just you pick a lane. If it's Mac Jones, people just go crazy about Mac Jones, and everything they have is Mac Jones. And they're the biggest, they're number one in their fan club, their collection, they could have bought it for $5,000 and it could be worth $5 million, if he hits it like a Brady,
Yeah. I'm going to show you guys a card too. I'm going to show, this is one of the Heritage Collection cards from Topps, and they're modeled after the 1973 baseball cards that I remember collecting as a kid. But it's this Jonathan India one that I'm showing you with the rookie of the year. I mean, to me, okay, I put that one aside and I put it in a plastic case because it's a rookie of the year, and they're never going to be able to take that away from the guy. But does that mean that if he has a bad year this year, that it's not going to be worth as much? I mean, you take the chance, right?
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, that's a cool card. The throwbacks are cool. Those were a little hard to get, by the way, for the AI, because it would always come up 1973, and we're like,
oh, I got you.
Yeah.
So that card's awesome. We figured that problem out. But yeah, I mean, Jonathan India, he's a good baseball player, but we don't know. You just don't know. But yeah, you're a futures trader, absolutely.
It's amazing, and my parents can be so proud that I finally got to know the business world, right? Because I'm futures trading with baseball cards.
You did it. Let's open up an exchange.
Yeah, congratulations to me, right?
Yep.
Well, guys, I really appreciate you taking the time. I've learned a lot. I mean, I think this is an amazing product that I think a lot of people should check out, especially if you're in need of trying to value that card collection without having to pick it up and schlep it to one of the hobby stores. If maybe you trust these guys, maybe you don't. I mean, it's a crapshoot, really.
It is. And Andy, two things: come into the office, check it out, bring your cards. The other thing, I'll offer my guys to come on and do a hobby 101s if you want on the podcast. They're entertaining guys.
Yeah,
so.
break some cards.
Break some cards.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, they look like they're entertaining. That's the thing about this whole process. I think a lot of people started taking it way too seriously, and they need to realize what this is. This is fun because, like you said, I'm going back to my front step in Glenview, Illinois, trading cards with my four best friends from kindergarten, and it brings me back. And that brings me back to a simpler time when I didn't have to worry about a lot of things.
Yes,
Yep,
yes.
absolutely.
And one thing that I want to share with you too that
Yeah.
that was important to Brian and I when we started the business is that we were going to give back. From the very beginning, we knew that we wanted to find a way to connect with the community here in Chicago in some way. And so we're going to be running for ALS Chicago, partnering with ALS Chicago. We thought that Lou Gehrig's foundation was a great way for us to connect with the community and get our team here involved. So we're going to be running on the Country Soul Race that's in, I think it's late October,
Yep.
with ALS Chicago, and continue to work with them on events to raise awareness for ALS as well.
So important, and so important to be a good neighbor. It's funny. I talked to the guy over at Obvious Shirts a couple of weeks ago, and they've done some great charity stuff with their shirts. And it's just so important, I think, to the community to realize that, you're in it to, obviously you're in a business to make money. Let's not kid ourselves. And that's the bottom line. That's the goal. But it's also a great thing to be a good partner and a good neighbor and give back. I commend you guys for that.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks, Sandy.
Appreciate
We really enjoyed being with you.
It's been a fun chat. I enjoyed it, and like I said, I've learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to coming in and seeing what my cards might be worth, so I can go back to my fiance and say, "See, this was worth it."
Exactly.
The honeymoon is
Yes.
paid for.
Exactly. We're getting married in October, so it's like, come on, we got a wedding to pay for. Let's go. Let's make these cards happen, right?
Awesome.
That's awesome. Man. Congratulations.
Congratulations.